Happy All-Star break, everybody. Welcome to the Clusterfuck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Beside me here, as always, is Brit. How's it going, Brit?
It's going good. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Okay, well, got a lot to talk about, but also not a lot to talk about. It would be mostly just us shooting the breeze, but at the same time, before we do go into that, don't forget everyone to like and subscribe, follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Clusterfuck Podcast go live. You can follow the MHRT Network on the various social media platforms that they provide. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the Clusterfuck Avs, and then on Facebook at the Clusterfuck Podcast. Okay, Brett. So we'll talk very quickly about the games that we had, and then kind of the main part of the episode today, which is going to be All-Star Weekend, which is finally here. But at the same time, boy, did it get here quick. Now that you kind of think about it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. So first things first, let's kind of go over the games that we did have. I think we only had like 2 or 3, I want to say, since the last time we spoke. Nothing too crazy.
It's been years.
It really does.
Yeah.
But
and like millennium since the Avs played. It's insane.
It really has. I think we left off talking about the Bruins game. So we'll talk about the Flyers, Flyers, Capitals, and Kings. All of which you score 5 or more goals. Let's start with there. So the Avalanche, on their last game of that 5-game road trip, it's against Philadelphia. And again, like you said, it feels like eons ago. It was a 7-4 victory, but at the same time, it took 3 whole periods almost to finally get that pull-away lead and ultimately win the game.
Yeah, it was sloppy. I mean, but sometimes it kind of feels like that's just how we roll. So I don't know if that's a good thing because nobody could really like pin a style to us, that they can conquer us with, because we just are weird. It's a weird team this year, but it doesn't feel bad like it did last year. The wins don't feel like undeserved as much. So I think.
I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. With this one though, I mean, what was odd about this is you wouldn't expect the Philly game, at least I should say for me, I didn't expect it to be really kind of that much of a barn burner. We're going into the third period. I want to say you were tied 4-4. Let me just double check that. I want to say that was correct.
Yeah, especially because who was in net for the Avs? Wasn't it just
Georgiev was in net
for the Flyers? I mean, was Hart gone by then? He had already left. Correct?
No, I think Hart had played. Let me check really fast.
Excuse me. Feels like that game was 10 years ago.
Sorry. No, you know what? I'm thinking of my games backwards. We were going into the third period up 5-2, and then the Flyers came within 1, but then we scored a couple extra. So really quick then to answer your question, Georgiev was in net for Colorado. And it looks like we chased Hart and got Urson the rest of the time. So we had
you have to kind of, I'm sure that Hart's mind probably wasn't in the game considering the events that have unfolded.
Considering kind of what's been floating all around him, I would agree. But at the same time, this was one, okay, now that I got my games actually straight, it was one where you had a substantial lead. It was 4-1, if I'm not mistaken, by the time midway through the game happened. And then just there was that little let off the gas where you kind of let Philadelphia come back to where it was within 1 with under 10 minutes remaining in the third. Yeah. It was, and you had that feeling of they're going to let this happen again. Very, very much like I don't want to say like the Nashville game because that'll happen within 45 seconds. Yeah. But reminiscent of that, where it was just like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Is kind of more because it's like, that the team could just rip 3 goals on command if they really wanted to, but they just let off the gas for some reason. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, and it's hard with the Flyers. I think that the Flyers are a really hard team to play right now because there really was very low expectations from them, possibly looking at going into a rebuild or a retool of some fashion. But if there's anything about Torts, it's that he's got like maybe a short shelf life, but also he gets the best out of players right off the bat. So they're certainly outperforming. Their shooting percentage is also unsustainable. I mean, it's just really hard to know like what you're going to get out of this team. So I'd imagine for the Avs, this is one of the trickier games, I think, that than we would anticipate as fans. Because from everything that I've listened to, they're just they're not supposed to be what they are. So every night I really didn't know what to take. I don't take a whole lot out of this game, I guess. I not like a great amount, especially considering the following games. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a super compelling game, but it'd be nice to see this team start going more towards like the Kings directions where we take the lead and finish the game a little more clinical and with less questions. It's nice to, if I have to go do something, that I don't have to like dread when I open my phone. It feels like I always have a hockey game on Avs nights, and there's nights that I'll leave during the second and feel sick when I get back and I have to check the score for the end. So it's nice. It would be nice to get to a more stable position where we're winning, especially against teams like the Flyers. I mean, yes, they may end up in the playoffs, but that's more because of other teams highly underperforming as opposed to their I mean, it's just, we need to start beating these teams with ease is really where we're at.
Yeah, I think it's at the point now where, and that's kind of the gauge that I think we wanted to look at the beginning of the season. I want to say is what we discussed, is saying at the All-Star break, it really should have sifted itself out between who's lesser tier, who's higher tier.
And it has. I think at this point, we can establish who has succeeded and what we need. I mean, anyone would tell you we have two needs, and it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Which really unlike last year, it was like, where do we start?
It was like, we need everything. We need a team. Let's start with that.
The goalie position was about the only position that wasn't questionable, and whatever Mikko is doing at that given second. Other than that, everybody else felt like they weren't, vibing right. I feel really at peace. Especially with the trust that we have in McFarland, that by trade deadline, I really feel like we're going to be we have visible holes. We are going to fill them. And I think that I'm a lot more confident this year.
Yeah, I think, and you're exactly right. I think the Avs happen to hit a really good stride, especially going into All-Star break.
Yeah.
And I share Bronco Bill's sentiment here when he's going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Boy, do you want to know what Brit and I are going through. We text each other I need a stat really quick. Nathan MacKinnon hat trick. Oh, I feel better. But anyways, yeah, just wanted to throw that out there, mention Bill real fast. But the next two games, honestly, it almost felt like a what's the name of the movie where it's a haunted like hotel and there's the two twins.
The Haunting? The Shining.
The Shining. That's what it is. Where that's just like they're the same exact game. Yeah. Not really, not really too much to go into because it's the the Capitals lose to the Avalanche 2-6, and then the Avalanche beat the Kings 5-1. Both teams are on this kind of skid. The Kings more so than the Capitals.
These two games were as close to perfect as
yeah.
It was just beautiful. It was so nice to just watch, which you want more excitement, but to just see them kick some butt, like it just felt reminiscent of a particular season that we enjoyed a lot. So it feels like we're going to hit our stride at the right time. Unlike you see the Rangers start off super hot, nothing can stop them, and now they are just. Sorry, Allie. They're just struggling. I mean, they're a shell. And the Kings also. The Kings, they had an absolutely insane record to start. I can't remember the stat, but it was, and I believe that they've almost brought I think it was their road their road wins were insane. And I think that they've brought their win-loss record to almost 50%. They are just careening out of control. It's hard to watch almost because they were supposed to be one of our biggest competitors for the cup, or to come out of the West.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now you see just this whole spiraling down effect with the teams, with this Kings team, and they've gotten knocked out twice now by Edmonton 2 years in a row, and now it's just right now at least they're having an identity crisis. I still am of the opinion that they'll figure it out, but the problem is, or I shouldn't say the problem, I should say I have a sneaking suspicion that that future is without a certain player that they just acquired over the summer.
Pierre-Luc Dubois is, for the love of God, dude, like,
it's like, dude,
pull this card so many times, and like, it's sad because have you ever listened to an interview with him? Because he's really a very pleasant person. I enjoy him.
Yeah.
And he sounds passionate, and then you look at him, and it's like, it's painful. And if I were somebody paying that guy $9 million out of my very meticulously delegated cap, I would probably pull my hair out in the stands watching that. It is a lot like that. The last shift, I was on the
really
Jackets. The shift. Everybody knows
the shift. Oh yeah,
it's hard to watch. It's like watching my 9-year-old every Sunday morning tournament game.
Oh man, it's true, but it's true. So we'll touch on that in just a second, because really quickly, I do want to throw in the highlight of the Washington game, which is the bringing back of what now is coined the Mac trick. 4 goals by Nathan MacKinnon in this just outrageously dominant year he's having. Did he tack on another one in the Kings game? I want to say he had one. Yeah, he had one in the Kings game, but still, it's like,
he's got like 30 goals and 53 assists. He's almost impressed me more. I mean, really,
he is having the season of seasons right now. It's like, if there's a time for somebody not named Matthews or McDavid to win a Hart Trophy, it's going to be now. And by all signs right now, it's pointing to Nathan MacKinnon, which is great to see. It really is. But
if he doesn't win the Hart, I'm serious. I will light the world on fire. That's just.
I've already planned a riot.
That you're owed anything, but like, he's paid his dues. I will be so disgusted if he doesn't win. Especially, I don't know if you saw where Kucherov, somebody asked him about why he's not getting as much attention. He's like, well, we're just in a small market, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude. What? Like, people talking about other people.
Salary cap market. What? All your markets are the same size.
Yeah. And people have been, I've grown fatigue to Tampa Bay in general. And it's like, but that's what I'll have to find the quote later, but there's just an incredible quote. And I'm currently reading The Game by Ken Dryden. And I don't know if you guys are readers, it's an absolutely incredible book. I mean, he is like, it's almost poetic. It's very life. It has a lot of insight on life, but he says that something about there's nothing more powerful than a team when it's winning, and there's nothing. It essentially adds up to nothing more pathetic when they're not. So
it's absolutely true.
Yeah,
it really is.
And it really made me think Tampa. But I was thinking about maybe I'll post something controversial later. We'll see if we can pull out all the Kucherov stands. But yeah, it's just MacKinnon is. It seems like he's grown so much mentally this year. And last year we saw a big jump in him mentally, and he didn't have the team behind him to really follow him in. But the wonderful thing is he's not carrying the team though. He's just doing this while everybody else is also doing it around him. And that's what's so reassuring. Like the contributions coming from, our third line is essentially like the most bomb ass.
The Roaring 20s, as it's called.
They're stealing his thunder. Like, it's
really great too, because Logan O'Connor might as well be second place for the Hart Trophy, as far as I'm concerned.
That's exactly what I said. And I said, and the true sign of like a teammate is like McKinnon doesn't care. He doesn't need the attention. Like he's perfectly happy.
Oh, have you seen his post-game interviews?
He sounds lighter.
He's got as much flavor as a saltine cracker.
Yeah, it's just nice to see. And I think that he's just really in a good place mentally. And now the team is with him physically. So I have a lot of hope. Last year, I tried to manifest the hope throughout the year, but I definitely lost it.
The circle of candles,
Yeah. No, I think, and especially with Georgie, I think it was almost, how did you feel about going into the All-Star games? We didn't want him playing hard. He needs to rest, but maybe the All-Star game is just enough to keep him feeling sexy. Hopefully he can do
That's kind of what my hope is. And we'll get to that actually just right here. But jumping just really quick about the Kings Avalanche 2 games, again, close to perfection. The game was over before it even began. You had control the entire time. I don't have any other comments other than great work to the whole team.
No.
And that included people who we didn't think showed up. Like, I noticed Ryan Johansson. I noticed Arturi Lehkonen and his return. It was massive, right? So just honestly, high marks to that, and a great time to go into the All-Star weekend is my assumption on the game. So, okay then. So really quick, we'll also go over. Let's see, what was it? Avalanche did something over the week. It was like they got a new guy on the team. Like I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
It's like Parise, but I just don't know. I don't remember where he's from.
Let's see, Zach Parise. Oh, that's right. He was the one on the Minnesota Wild who gave the Avalanche fits for so many freaking years.
And fun fact,
recently acquired
favorite player of Ross Colton growing up.
Oh, no way. Are you serious?
Yes, wow, it's so cute.
That is quite amazing.
Especially when you consider how outwardly emotional Ross Colton is. Imagine the fact that he's now playing with an idol.
Imagine them on the same scoring line at the time. That would be amazing. Zach Parise signs a contract with the Colorado Avalanche for $825,000, same as Cogliano, same as Drouin, and he will play the rest of the season with the Avalanche. First thoughts on this trade, Brit? What were your first thoughts?
I'm not mad at all. My first thought was, I bet the Wild love that. We just got to win a cup now, because him winning a cup with us would just feel so good.
It's like another Ray Bourque moment in the making, is kind of how I'm looking at it.
Spiteful and less adorable.
Yes.
At first I was like, he is, what is he, 36 or 38?
38.
Right. So he's old AF.
He's Cogliano's age.
Hockey people. But you have to stop and consider, the longer I stewed on it, the more excited I am when you consider the fact that I looked up his stats and stuff. He played almost all 84 games the last 2 seasons he was with the Islanders. So he wasn't out with injury. Apparently he's a maniac for his body. He's been if you can do that at 38, then there's just some kind of mix of genes and working out that keep you in the league that long, like Cogliano. So apparently he's got them. And $825,000, even if he does nothing, whatever. He's here for half.
It doesn't affect your salary.
But then the beautiful thing is he is fresh as fresh could be. I mean, he's coming in having worked his butt off, hoping to prove, he wants to get somewhere. He chose us. And that's always something that's so special to me. Like when you think about Myers, Poland, these college free agents and other free agents, when they choose you, that's a particular kind of drive. So I feel awesome about it. I was kind of weird and spiteful at first, but now I feel really, really good about it. And that you can always take more of that veteran sauce, it's just, it is valuable.
Yeah. So my reaction, I don't want to say I was confused, but I was just like, this just has the makings of McFarland and Sakic doing things that they commonly do, where it just kind of comes out of left field from the depths, I guess you should say, and it just works. And I just feel like this is another one of those situations where it's like they make a signing and it just works. So so the more and more I look at what he did last season, here's the thing, is he's got the age. And say that again.
Did he have like 20 goals?
21, I want to say,
Yeah.
and like 24 assists. So and that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm just looking at him like, so he comes off a season where he's the same age as Cogliano, but he's producing like Joe Pavelski.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and every trustworthy minute he puts on the ice, which Bednar is going to trust him, and we know that's big with Bednar.
He's a very seasoned
vet. Less time that Makar has to be on the ice and can come out fresher. You know what I mean? We're not doing those forced final like 6 minutes that Makar really shouldn't be on that are making the other 24 not as good. You know what I mean? So worst case scenario is still good, I think, with him. It really is.
I would 100% agree. I think with the experience he's got and just the overall production, even at that age, which is very impressive, might I add, I think I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I'll take it. I'm ready for it, and I'm super excited. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, hey, I'm ready to see number 9, as his jersey will be, out on the ice.
Yeah.
But that does play into the next bit. There was another trade that happened yesterday. One that the Avalanche were heavily involved in to begin with, but ended up obviously not panning out, and that was the Elias Lindholm trade, where he goes to Vancouver in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko and an entire platoon of other guys and picks. The idea behind that, now, I guess, what implication do you think that has for the Avalanche? Does that mean they now go after a different slot that they need to fill? Does that mean they go after another guy that might feel like Lindholm? What do you think?
Like I always say, we make guesses, but it's just so that we can talk and have fun, because at the end of the day, they're not going to do anything that we anticipate them doing. And after I saw that Lindholm trade go through, I thought, holy crap, I'm so glad that this is a rental. And so that matters with them. They're not rental. We rent very few people on this team. And the big problem is so like what they're establishing essentially for a baseline. So they graded the Canucks a B+ for that trade on the, I don't know if that was the Athletic or whatever, but if you're getting, so they got like a first, a
third, and 2 prospects.
Okay, where Kuzmenko, is he considered a prospect?
No, Kuzmenko was the second liner, I want to say, for the.
So I mean,
but the 2 other guys were prospects. Yeah,
2 solid rosters, 2 prospects, 2. I would love to have somebody smarter than me do the science to figure out what is the like estimated dollar amount that a first-round draft could be considered worth, and then like
I have no idea.
Well,
let alone with like what Lindholm has been doing. I just and that's the thing is if the Avalanche saw that, I'd be like, yeah, heck no, peace, have fun with that deal.
Especially even if they had done like a sign-in trade, like I don't know if we would have wanted him to sign, and then because he's really, really not doing well this year. And granted, Calgary hasn't had the greatest year, but Kadri is finding a way to perform. And at this point, Lindholm said that he never told Calgary that he would not sign, which they kind of tried to make it sound like that. So that tells me that they didn't offer him something. So maybe next assumption that is probably maybe wrong, is that they're gearing up for a full-blown retool rebuild. So maybe you could just give us Kadri back, because you obviously don't give a shit about
interesting you say that.
Yeah, going within the division, which is weird. And to me, the biggest problem about the Lindholm trade is he is ultimately going to make Vancouver better. Any high-end talent is going to get better playing on Vancouver, even though I cannot wrap my name I still don't see them as a good team. I don't know why. I just can't get my brain around it. But that's the biggest problem for the Avs, is that he went within our division. It would have been nice for him to go somewhere else. But it's weird that Calgary traded to him. But maybe that means we can get Kadri back. At what cost? I don't know. They might be willing to retain if we send them something young and shiny. I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
I still don't know if I'm even comfortable paying Kadri for what he's making for that long. But if If they could retain just a little bit, then we'd basically be getting him for exactly what we had wanted to start with. And I don't imagine he's very happy there. And he needs a chip on his shoulder. So this might just be like regenerating a whole new chip for him. But yeah, it's setting the bar high for he was the top center on the market, correct? I mean, Monahan is going to be the next. So that's setting the bar high for what it's going to cost. But I think that a lot of people are not going to think that that's where it's going to stay. I think that's just what Vancouver had to pay because they're not going to be competing like this next year. They have a very short window, or possibly a limited window. So I think this was like all the cards to the middle. While the Avs are pushing most of their cards to the middle, but still planning for the future because we have a long window.
No, you're absolutely right. But that does bring up the next question though, is so that Lindholm trade has gone away. You're out of it. Mm-hmm. You acquire Parise. With the trade deadline looming, do you go after somebody else, or are you pretty comfortable with where you are?
I don't know. This is why I just love that it's McFarland's job and not mine, because it's so hard to say. It's a very weird.
Should be yours though. Let's be real.
We're all broken. We're all tight to the cap, and it's. If Landeskog comes back, I don't know. I'm starting to get more of the mind that I would like to see Bo stay here till summer at the very least. If we're going to trade him, it just doesn't feel like, unless it's some random surprise, shocking
Tyson Barrie,
Crosby. I don't know. Yeah, Tyson Barrie. But like, I just he's going to be worth more in the summer, I think, when you have time to sit down and really look at your pieces and know who's hurt. And it's just... Especially
in the Avalanche's favor. Sorry to cut you off there, but in the Avalanche's favor, where if Bo does continue to play better, then you have the option of keeping him because he's now on a better track, or look, he's playing much better, kind of wave that in front of everybody else.
I mean, the dude's got to put in a healthy season to reach max value. And we've got him on a pretty good bridge contract. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows though? That's the thing, is we are not predictable team.
What you and I could talk about might not even be close to happening.
Nope.
So that being said, I'll answer my own question. A backup goaltender. That is the one last piece that I feel like you might explore. Now, I'm not saying it's a necessity, because the thing is, Georgiev, he's played the most games out of any goalie, right? But guess what? So did Martin Brodeur the years that he won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
he played like 70 games.
That Kings game really made me feel like being tired may have been Georgie's problem, because he got a break.
And that's just that's the reason why I say to explore it, is because now you need to have somebody solid to back up. Yes, Prosvetov, he's a serviceable goalie, as is Justus Annunen. However, they are not seasoned enough. Now, that's not to say that anything could happen.
When he doesn't like him,
exactly.
Trust is the more appropriate.
Yeah, trust it. Yeah, because he likes him probably just fine. But what I would do if I had to pick a specific goaltender to go after, it would be Dan Vladar. Perfectly serviceable, a good enough backup. Probably wouldn't break the bank if you made a good enough deal.
And then he's not playing for them to go off on us if we have to play them. My God, he owns us.
If you can't beat him, or if you can't beat him, make him on your team.
He kicks butt against the Avs pretty much every time, it feels like, because I always think that he's such a good goalie, and then I realize that he's decent, but he's just good against us. Nobody else thinks he's that good.
And with all those rumors swirling about, like, I think the Spit and Chicklets guys said that the perfect fit would be Marc-Andre Fleury to the Avalanche, which again, I would buy that for the jersey, but not for the play at this current point. I would probably say Vladar has the better safety net when it comes to trustworthy play.
And I think he has a more backup goalie.
Exactly.
I don't know that
he knows the role.
Would take just being brought in as a backup very well. But I would like to get a backup goalie in sooner than later, because I think the competition between Georgie and someone possibly actually taking over his spot, which Vladar could definitely do, is good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, if I had to pick someone that I personally would go after, it'd be Dan Vladar at this current point. But somebody, I guess the overarching player is someone to that nature where they can go in right into backup and just play, right? That's kind of the idea, because with Francouz out for the season and possibly off the Avalanche by the time next year is, we're talking about this next year. It's not looking good. Yeah. So if they're not going to shop one now, they're going to totally shop one during the offseason. So you might as well try to do it now because, hey, you still are in first place in your division. Go after the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. And nothing can derail you like not having a backup. I mean, you can limp through with a struggling top six, bottom six, middle six, any six, but not with a bad goalie. There's nothing to do about it.
Yes. Yep, I 100% agree.
Can you still hear me? My thing is being a little wonky.
No, I can hear you just fine. It's okay. I got a beautiful frozen screen.
I was gonna say mine is horrific.
But it looks fantastic. Okay, so with that being said, then let's kind of jump now into the All-Star break. By first discussing the draft that just happened. So this year they went back to the All-Star draft, and Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar were captain and alternate captain, along with Tate McRae, the celebrity captain. And these were the selections they made. So, Allie, if you're listening, now's the time to hop off. She doesn't know yet, so she's trying to keep us surprised.
Oh, I didn't get a watch, but I glanced at him.
So you'll at least know Team McKinnon for now. So besides the obvious,
I'm just curious because my thing is for me is my
no. You still look like you saw a ghost in the corner. So
yeah, that's really unfortunate. Okay,
maybe is your camera shut off?
Because I cannot stand to look at my face.
Oh, hang on. Now I got a black screen. So progress, I suppose. Oh, there you are. There now I can see it just great.
Worst face ever.
No, that's going to be a thumbnail now.
Oh God. Yeah.
Okay, so the roster goes as followed. Here we go. So Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. That one's obvious. Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, for
that one was their first pick.
MacKinnon is predictable.
Yeah, and it's like you knew that one was coming. As soon as they saw that he was available, it was like, yeah, that's going to happen. They were good friends, still are. Makes total sense. Goaltender, we know him. Alexander Georgiev is on the Team MacKinnon. So all three Avalanche players
he actually has faith in our goalie.
Yep, and that's the thing. You've played the most games. Okay, just side note. Everyone is so mad because Georgiev, they're like confused as to the selection, but they're like, well, look at his save percentage. Yeah, well, look at the shots he's had to face. Less than the average. Yeah,
what I saw was that when the voting was out, once the originals were picked, in the voting order, it went with the default top was the most wins. So he was at the top. So if nobody gave a crap about goalies and just voted for the other stuff and then just had to click a goalie.
Yep.
No, and he's a really good goalie.
He totally deserves it.
I know that it's fun to rag on him. But when he's hot, he's hot. He really kind of reminds me of Varley, and maybe it's just that Russian blood. I don't know. But he's not bad. He's streaky.
Yeah, but I still at the same time think he is all-star material. The way he plays.
What? Oh, who just Starkin has been shitting the bed up and down the place. Allie can tell us all about it.
I hear so much about that. She's not listening now, so we can go to town on her
proof that the NHL goaltenders are it's mental. I mean, it's just there's no rhyme or reason. It's a lot of except Vasilevsky, which he's not burning the world down this year either. So he belongs there.
He does
because I said so.
That's right, and again, he's got the most wins, obviously because he's played the most games, but at the same time. You look at the percentage, everyone's like, oh my gosh, he sucks at stopping pucks. Yeah, but he doesn't get as much pucks fired at him, so clearly his numbers are going to be down. Anyways, I can go on a rant about that. I won't. We're going to continue on the list here. They then selected Kirill Kaprizov. of the Minnesota Wild.
What
That
the
one's
hell,
going to be
bro?
super fun. I think Georgiev and Kaprizov talking to each other in Russian just to have a buddy. I don't know. Still super fun.
Was it Kaprizov who did this super boring thing last year for the shootout?
His shootout. It was. Yeah. I want to say that was him. That was kind of more of a letdown. Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, so we can have like literally the most buttoned up lame.
Okay, next the Team McKinnon selected Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Mac, let Tilly out.
Yep. Oh, you weren't on mute, Brit.
Mac, let her out.
I'll mute you. Oh, sorry. I'll unmute you now. Sorry.
Oh. No, my dog. I'm trying to yell loud enough that my kid can hear me because he's in the bathtub with YouTube on extra loud.
Oh, there you go.
And he forgot our dog's locked up. So, sorry.
Fun. No, you're good. So the Sebastian Aho pick, yeah, cool.
Right in line.
On to the next one, anyways. Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals. The only thing I have to say is, why couldn't it have been Tomas Hertl? The end.
Hertl?
Yeah, I wanted Hertl.
I don't know if you could even pick a team with less personality.
I guess it was probably strategic. It was strategic. You know why? Because Tom Wilson's going to go out and hit somebody, and you'd rather have it hit somebody that's not on your team. So might as well try to get all the players on your actual team, then get Tom Wilson so he can go out and hit everyone else.
I think Kachuk is more uncontrollable than Wilson at this point. Wilson is technically, I heard this, I think this was on Jeff Merrick's show. Technically, if Wilson were being considered for if he did something naughty and he was going to get a suspension, he currently does not have a history because your history gets wiped clean after 12 to 18 months.
And yet Kadri got suspended 8 games for a check to the head 2 years ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
NHLPA, man. I can go on for hours about them. Ugh.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And rough.
Next, another goaltender, Jeremy Swayman of the Boston Bruins.
I love him. Oh my
God.
I'm
I love that pick. I absolutely love that pick. Because if anything, he's your potential Vezina Trophy winner.
How weird is it that there's 4 defensemen there at the whole entire thing? Why is there so few defensemen?
That's right. There's not a ton, is there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Most forwards do the scoring. Most forwards get the attention, unless your name's Cale Makar.
I guess. There's more goalies than defensemen.
Yeah. Okay, next, Travis Konechny of the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that's a pretty fun pickup. I definitely didn't see it coming, but I'm not mad. Yeah. Okay, a boy we just talked about not even 15 minutes ago, Elias Lindholm of the now Vancouver Canucks.
Which a lot of these kind of make you think maybe every team doesn't need to have people there. I don't know. Mm-hmm. These guys, all these names that you've just read over Mikko Rantanen. Okay.
Yeah. And then with the last pick, or I guess it was very weird how they did the last one. They assigned them envelopes, I guess, or handed out envelopes.
I like that. I'm totally.
Which I think was a really nice idea because there's always that thing about being picked last on the team, So it's you're now assigned to the team. So I liked how they did that. So the next one was Oliver Bjorkstrand of the Seattle Kraken. I should say the last one on the team was Oliver Bjorkstrand of the Seattle Kraken. I'm not too upset with that. I think Bjorkstrand's a solid player. He's kind of been the Jared McCann of this year for the Kraken team, who have been kind of struggling, but kind of on the up and up. So not mad he was assigned to us, but like I said, I wish it was Tomas Hertl because personal reasons. Okay.
My dog so with that eating a whole loaf of French bread, in case you're wondering.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
No worries. Be happy.
That reminds me of years ago we had a pet wiener dog. Her name was Peaches, and she lived to be about 18 years old. She maybe even 10 years before she passed away, or before we put her down, I should say, she ate an entire symphony bar. Just sitting out there on the symphony bar, a chocolate bar,
and
but the big ones. Okay?
Because that's
She just kind of went on about her merry way, and we thought for sure that she was had 24 hours to live. Nah, she had about another 10 years in her.
Good.
Yeah. Anyways, so that story aside, that's the team for Team MacKinnon. So once again, MacKinnon, Makar, Crosby, Georgiev, Kaprizov, Aho, Wilson, Swayman, Konechny, Lindholm, and Bjorkstrand.
It's about as predictable as you would get for MacKinnon. Like, that's why I think it's so funny that he got Tate McRae, the like loud, obnoxious, fun, crazy girl.
What a pairing that was.
I was like, all of them are pretty good except MacKinnon. Like, and then Michael Bublé apparently said he was on shrooms today.
Yeah, Ali mentioned that. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I think
it was a joke, but maybe not a joke. I don't know. I love Michael Bublé.
But yeah, so then I guess that'll kind of shoo us into the next little segment, which is the All-Star Game, where you get to watch what is quite possibly the worst jersey combinations and design in the history of planet Earth. Oh, they are disgusting.
I like them.
Brittany.
It's so girly, Brittany. I don't think last year's I loved last year's.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And I am glad that they got yellow. I think I'm going to get one.
It's Carl's Jr. Or I guess Hardy's, where you're from.
Put that in my brain. Now I'm going to have to look at them and
finally we found something that we disagree on, though. That's fun.
Yeah. My only thing is like, so let me look at them again. I really like embroidered jerseys, but that star is really big, and I don't like when I sit down. Like, that's my main issue with the Avs logo, is that it's got that like A there. So if I'm like sitting and doing stuff, it just pokes your neck the whole time. It doesn't like sit right, especially on like women's chest. So I'll have to go see if I can find some pictures of like various bodies wearing it, because it seems like the A is low, but also the names are on the bottom and the back. It screams like K-pop vibes, but Bieber designed them. So like, we're getting young, Nick. This is the young.
But it just looked like somebody used Microsoft Draw and put something together in 3 minutes.
No, I should put a picture up here on the pod. I think it's fun. I don't like I'm not like a white person though, so I figured, Mr. Bland MacKinnon would.
See, that's so funny, because I was like, the least offensive out of all four of them was the white one.
No, I like white on other people. I just stain everything. So if I buy not white things.
You're a ketchup dripper, huh?
Yes, I bought a brand new, beautiful Denver University jersey, and then somehow I got lipstick on it within like 2 hours of the first like red lip, and it's still there to this day, reminding me of how stupid I am. Which I get stains out of everything.
I have the same bad luck, but with new pants. That's just I'm eating, and then like I'll just get like a ketchup stain, or we have fry sauce in Utah, best thing in the world. I spill fry sauce on my pants, or like I go out to go see my parents' dogs, and they have just got back from playing in the mud, and they jump up on me. Yeah, I get really bad luck with that.
Like wonder about people who can just wear white pants and like just live normally while they're doing it. You gotta wonder.
I only wear white pants when I golf. And I'm sure Bronco Bill would be thrilled to hear that.
I don't know if I could even handle that. But in Utah, you have fry sauce. I just want to bring up, in Utah, you may also have an NHL team at some point. How does that you feel? Are you going to abandon us, Nick?
That's a discussion for another time. I'm excited, but I'm scared.
Does it feel as feasible? Because I read some articles that are making it
feels imminent. Like, it feels really imminent, and I'm scared, but excited at the same time. But that's definitely going to be a topic of discussion during the off season for sure.
Just remember when you were just a guy without a hockey team who was good to you. It wasn't the Salt Lake City.
The Raptors. I want them to be called the Raptors.
Who was talking about Salt Lake City Soakers? Was that Chicklets or something? But it's interesting. And the alcohol concept, we should just do a whole different one on that. But so just remember, everybody, Nick might be abandoning us. Supposedly, they could have the
now. Hang on. So, I never said anything of the sort. Brit's putting words into my mouth. Nobody listen to her right now.
I'm so jealous of the fact that you could have a team within like 2 hours of you, though. So
that and potentially a baseball team.
That's
wild.
so weird to me that you guys don't have one. It feels like, which I guess that's not like their identity, but it just I don't know why it always felt like, and I don't know. Maybe it's just
we'll bring up an entire discussion on expansion teams in the off season.
Believe
you me,
we will. It's gonna get, there's a lot going on.
A lot of moving parts.
But yeah, so back to what.
Okay, so just to finish up, Brit's lying. I'm not going anywhere.
It just
have to cross the bridge when we get there. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, now on to the All-Star games themselves. So we'll have the skills competition as well as the games themselves. Is there anything you are particularly looking forward to?
I haven't even like heard an actual, because I haven't gotten to watch tonight, game formats for the individual. Like, have they laid out exact formats for the individual games or like the competitions or whatever? The 3-on-3 is so whatever to me. I like more just like, my favorite thing about the 3-on-3 is watching who interacts and how they interact and who seems kind of like standoffish and mean girl and like who's cliquey. I like watching the interactions between people, but I haven't seen much on the actual games. Have you? Because like last year was they announced.
I haven't heard too much on format. My guess is it's going to be just like last year's, where the two teams, like I'm guessing, like Team Hughes and Team McKinnon play each other, and then Team who am I trying to think of?
So like all 12 of
McKinnon and McDavid play each other, and then Jersey Hughes and Matthews play each other. I think that's how it's going to be, and then the winners of each of those play each other. That's my guess, because that's kind of how it was last year, but with divisions. But yeah, I don't think they've announced.
So they pick so I'll read it because I won't be able to explain it well. All 12, the 12 stars will pick to compete in 4 of the first 6 events, with the top 8 advancing to the 7th event of the shootout. So essentially all 12 are competing in all of the events, which is 8. And then whoever has the most points after 8 events wins $1 million, which is kind of cool, because a lot of people that are in the All-Star game this year are not people who have made so much disgusting money that $1 million means nothing to them. Like there's a lot of young guys who really haven't made that much money that probably shouldn't be there, but there's been so many people back out that the $1 million is meaningful. So the events are going to be the fastest skater, hardest shot, stick handling, one-timers, passing challenge, accuracy shooting, shootout, and obstacle course.
And a one-on-one.
I'm curious to see how many of them, like who's going to want to do the obstacle course? Like, wouldn't you imagine some of them, they would try to do as little as possible because they get to pick to compete in 4 of the first 6. So yeah, it's it's interesting. And then did you see the interview? Bo Byram told a reporter, Cale McCarr said that if he wins, he's going to give
he's going to share his $1 million.
Yep. Cale's like, Bo doesn't know how money and taxes work. Like old grandpa smartass McCarr. And then you've got Bo, who's funny. Like planning his trip to the strip club with Cale's winnings. So it's just adorable. And that's like exactly the relationship that you'd anticipate with them. But so like this one said, this 7th event is so cool. 8 players will line up on the blue line. 8 goalies will line up on the other. And the players one by one from the 8th place to the 1st place will pick the goalie he wants to go against.
The one-on-one challenge.
Points, so it'll be interesting because it's always a hard spot for the goalies, because like you don't want to try too hard, but you also don't want to get scored on. But then if you do,
you don't want to look like the last guy.
You get scored on, then you look. There's just like hockey goalie is like the dumbest position to pick ever. For anybody whose kids are like getting ready to play hockey, I just was thinking the other day, like I've been playing hockey for so long, and like I'm a female that chose to play a boys sport, so I changed by myself. I stand by myself. Like it's just a weird gig. But yeah,
not with this PHL coming into town. Boy, howdy, I love that stuff. I love it.
hopefully they call me for my
boy
tryout.
sport no more in my point of view. But so as far as events, particular events, is there one that you are going to be looking forward to the most?
I like
one-on-one.
Kinda like I like it, but I also hate it. You know what I mean? I like chaos. I think it's good when it's not my chaos. You know.
There you go. So the one that I'm looking forward to the most is the one-timers challenge, which I think is going to be super interesting. Yeah, because not only is Nathan MacKinnon is in there, but you're also facing off against other outrageously good one-timer shooters,
and there's
such
just
as
like nothing
Pedersen,
like
Draisaitl, Kucherov, JT Miller, Matthews, Barzal, and Pasternak. So like elite company. So I'm particularly excited to see just kind of what that does and how that works. And so that's going to be the one I'm most looking forward to. But all of them really are going to be a lot of fun. But the only thing I do ask is that they all just put in their effort, right? Because I know it's the All-Star and you don't want to get injured, so don't like kill yourself, but don't make it look like it's second thought. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what
kind of like with what you said with the one-on-one challenge.
Mention like something cool about doing it like this is that you start tracking it, and going to the All-Star game did used to matter, but now it's like there's the dude who wins it, and we're gonna track, and we'll be like, he was the All-Star for this, and maybe ultimately make it a little more valuable. I don't know, or just another tick on your resume for the Hall of Fame. I don't know, but
and that's the thing. It's like I just wish, and this goes with all sports, that there was an incentive for them to actually play, to show off their skill that they were selected for. So like the skills challenge, I think is a great one, but also during the game itself, I just want there to be more
intangible things that you can't pick out. And I like the idea of where they do it, like if they did something where they made it have some kind of value in the playoffs, like if you're something where like you get a point or you get one, you know what I mean? Like
like if
season tournament, kind of that thing, you know, like
or like home ice advantage.
Yes, not like astronomical, but it might be the difference.
Something to tilt the scale, something that would be like, okay, I'll play for that. Yeah, I 100% agree. So other than that, I mean, we'll look forward to the All-Star games. I know that they're going to have the whole weekend, right? So you got the skills challenges. The women's 3-on-3 game just happened. I was able to watch the first half of it. Like I said, love the PWHL that is happening. What's going on there? Highly recommend everyone gets into that. They're allowing much more physical play, which is really fun to see. And the hits are getting a little bigger. Oh, it's fun stuff, man.
Somebody on Twitter was saying that the PWHL is way more intense and crazy because everybody's they're all dating each other.
And bad blood could happen.
Could you imagine in the NHL
breakups happen?
Guys that were dating each other on the team? It's just like what a world.
Yeah, see that's
because women aren't
the fun added wrench right there.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love it. And that's what the women are. They're very
and you've seen their skill too.
They're so hostile. They got their first already.
All right, so that's going to take care of the All-Star weekend discussion that we had. We're looking forward to it. Hopefully everybody on the Avalanche that is not there is taking a well-needed rest, recovering for what they need to do for the games ahead. So really quickly, we will just talk about the few games that are going to be played.
Do we have a podcast before the next game?
Next week's podcast is going to, there's a game on a Thursday, I should say, that they have. So potentially, but we'll figure it out. But either way, the Avalanche are now going on the longest road trip of the season. 6 games.
I think it's of the league. They said it's like the longest distance.
It's a long boy. Like this one's outrageous. So 6 games, and the first. So we'll talk about the first 2, which is the Rangers and the Devils. Monday.
2 totally underperforming teams. Like so, we could come out and get our asses kicked.
That's it. It's a trap game for both of them for sure.
Yeah.
But Monday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. against the Rangers. Allie and I both have skin in this game, so it's going to be very, very
party
passionate.
at the house.
Yep, this kind of determines who sleeps on the couch, right? So this is going to be a big one. But with the Rangers game, you kind of said it right on the head. And boy, howdy, if we brought Allie onto this podcast, she would go for about 4 hours talking about this.
Yeah,
but the Rangers are currently skidding.
Statistics to try to anticipate what Monday's game was going to be like. There's a good chance that you would be wrong. I don't see that there's any way that they're going to come out and play poorly, the Rangers. I
totally agree, and that's what I've been trying to kind of comfort Allie, I should say, is they're still first in their division. But the thing is, the Rangers team, they can turn it on suddenly. It just depends on how long that lasts. But the thing is, with the Rangers Avalanche games, they have historically always been really tight, really hard fought. And I don't think this one's going to be any different. I'm not expecting a 7-3 blowout from either end. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's probably going to go to overtime, maybe even shootouts. Is kind of how I'm thinking about this.
That'll do.
If it does, it's once again going to be the Shesterkin versus Georgiev games.
Which might be just what Georgie needs to like.
It really could be, because he continually plays with that chip on his shoulder. And you saw him last year, right? Where he got that shootout win in Madison Square Garden. And he was really
cock locking. That was the most I've ever seen joy out of that guy. It's good for him though. The Russians, I'm doing like a write-up on it at some point, but like there's something about Russians, and I'm curious as to whether they need to be coached in a very particular manner to get them right. You know what I mean? So Shesterkin struggling, but them competing against each other, it'll also make Shesterkin better.
It will bring out the best in both of them.
Yes.
Without question. It's going to be the goalie's delight.
I'm a little worried for that game. I don't anticipate an easy win by any means. I wouldn't even be surprised if we had a blowout. You know what I mean? It's just it's hard to know.
Yeah, it really is. But I think one thing's for sure, it's going to be goalie's delight on that game, for sure.
Yeah, it should be some really
and then the other one that we'll talk about, at least for now, just because the third game, it does happen right at the time of what we would usually record. But for sure, we can talk about the Devils game. Again, another struggling team currently sitting outside of the playoffs, looking in. But again, that doesn't mean that they are a bad team. It's just they have just fallen on hard times and haven't come out of it. But I don't necessarily want the Avalanche to be that springboard for them to then all of a sudden go on this tear and then us to go on to a bad streak, because again, 6 games is a very, very long road trip. So I think for right now, we'll just,
but I'd imagine he will be back. Considering I think they tried to get him in for the All-Star game. I
believe they did. He was there as a captain, just picking the team.
He is doing the thing. Okay.
He picked his team, but I don't think he's going to play necessarily in the games themselves.
Okay.
So either way, though, again, these are both easily trap games. If I were to be completely honest, where it could be the start of a skid. If you lose to the Rangers, then you go right back the next day, because they're back to back, right, and lose to the Devils, then you have the giant kind of southern swing where it goes to Carolina, Florida, Washington, Tampa. Like, it's going to be, if you thought that one in the New England and Canada area was tough, like this one's also got some pretty heavy hitters that they're repeat customers when it comes to beatdowns. So it's not going to be easy, but you have to start the first 2 games off right, especially as they're back-to-backs. Yeah. So with that being said, that's really all what we kind of wanted to talk about and discuss today. Great All-Star week. Like I said, great for the guys to get some rest, the ones that aren't currently in the games. But it's going to be a fun spectacle, I'm sure. Either way, we'll have stuff to talk about next week as far as what we liked, what we didn't like, those jerseys. But either way, I think that's all I have, Britt, as far as items. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, awesome. Well, once again, thank you everybody for following along for this episode of the Clusterpuck Podcast. We really do appreciate your guys' participation and viewership. If you liked what you saw, again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Clusterpuck Podcast go live. If you want to follow the MHRT network, you may do so on the various platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram,
OnlyFans,
Threads, YouTube, Facebook. I said like the same thing 6 times. If you want to follow us specifically, you can follow us at the Clusterpuck Podcast on Facebook, as well as Clusterpuck AVS, AVS on Twitter, Instagram, and no ABS. Not with me. You don't.
We're not abs people.
We're not abs. I'm not an abs guy. So if you're disappointed, sorry.
No, we're donut people and Avalanche people.
With that being said, we hope you guys enjoy the All-Star break, enjoy the All-Star weekend, enjoy the show that is the All-Star Game spectacle. And with that being said, go Avs, go.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.